Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a mid-October afternoon here in Southwest Florida and it is a beautiful day. So a cold front came through here yesterday. It is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 24 degrees Celsius. I should say also when I start this out today that I wanted to acknowledge Keith, who lives in Iowa, the true Midwest U.S. And Keith, when I start out my videos and say what a beautiful day it is and the temperature, he says that where he is, especially in the wintertime, he wants to reach through the monitor and choke me. So Keith, this is for you today. It's a nice day in Iowa, but it's supposed to get a little chilly tonight. So Keith, look at this. Not going to get cold. So I am back in Southwest Florida. Got back here a couple of days ago, and it is, like I said, it is so great to be back here. I'm a little disappointed with some of the things that I saw in my collection. I did lose a couple of plants. I wasn't here to take care of them. They just got taken over and didn't make it, and that happens. I also had a few flowers that I really clearly missed the peak of the bloom. So the buds were starting to show before I left, and by the time I got back, they were pretty much over. I'm going to share one of those with you today. The other one's just not worth looking at. But what I want to do today is show you some of my flared cattleyas. And it was fun because when I got back, many of the blooms that were in my garden were flared cattleyas, and I really like the look of those flowers. So flaring, if you don't know, I'm sure most of you do, is when you have the petals on the plant that have a line of color or different line or shading that goes through them. They're not solid uniform, and a lot of times you have contrast in color, and that really, it's pretty striking, and your eye is drawn to these flowers. Some of these plants that I'm going to share with you are first bloom, the first time I've seen them bloom, and some of them are repeat bloomers. So I just want to show you some of the flared cattleyas because I think these are becoming my favorite. Now it may change over time. I may end up liking some of the other colors or other types of flowers even. But for right now, my favorite are the flared cattleyas. And I want to show you, as I look through here, I want to show you one of the one that's gone. And I don't even have any video of the flower at its peak. I have a still image of the flowers. I had one of my orchid growing colleagues looked at my orchids when I was gone and sent me some pictures, and I do appreciate that, Diane, so thanks. But I want to share those with you as I show these flowers that are well beyond prime. And so what I have, the first one I want to show you is, and I'm looking at it, it's right over here, is RLC Kyla Kobayashi. The cultivar variety is Palmer Orchids, which is where this plant came from. And this is my first, or was my first bloom. And this is, as you can see, it's well beyond the peak flower. But the flaring that you see, or that you may not be able to see well, is there's a little bit of pink in the middle of these petals here that flares out. But you'll be able to see this a little better from the still image that I'm going to put on the screen. The throat on this plant has, on this flower, has some yellow in it, and it's just a really nice flower. When I first came back, I could see the difference even between yesterday and today was pretty striking. So it just went downhill fast after its peak. It looked great, and I'm happy with it, but it's now beyond. And even like I said, the base of the flowers, I can't even use it to cross onto it anymore. I'm going to collect pollinia from it. to use it as the male parent in a cross, but the just the yellowing at the base of the flower, I can't use it as a cross anymore. It does have some nice new pseudobulbs growing out of the base of it, and the roots coming out of the newer growths also look good. So this is a good vigorous plant. It's the first bloom. I think I got this probably around 9 months ago from Palmer Orchids on one of my big buying sprees. So I'm pretty happy with it, but unfortunately I missed the bloom on this. The other one that I can't show it to you because it's below me. It's in a monster pot that's about this big, clay pot, and this is another beautiful flared cattleya. It is one of my favorite. I use it in a lot of my crosses as a male parent, and this is Odom's Grand Delight, and I'm going to put video up of this flower. It has, the flaring isn't as pronounced, so it has some deep purple flaring in the petals. The throat of this is just it's like velvet, velvet purple. It's just very, very deep. This is a continual bloomer, so it puts out a new pseudobulb, and then the flowers come out of that. And this is a great plant, very vigorous, blooms all the time. You don't get the splash of a lot of flowers because it puts out a new pseudobulb bloom, but it's still one of my favorite plants. It has a real nice, or it had a real nice fragrance to it. This one is also a bit past its peak, but again, one of my favorite flared cattleyas. I have one here that I want to share with you that is, I think, in its peak, or maybe a little bit beyond, and this is Burana Beauty, Burana. So the cultivar is Burana, and this has been blooming for quite a while. I just repotted this a few months ago, and this thing really took off. It has done very well, and I don't know if you can see right here. So on this there's a flower here that's open, and then right below it is a capsule that's starting to form. So I'm looking this. About 3 weeks ago, I pollinated this. Is that right? No, it was longer. I wasn't here. So this was pollinated a while ago. And this capsule starting to form. This is a good male and female plant. I've made a lot of crosses with this previously. This is also, after I repotted it, it just took off. It was in a really small pot, a little confined as far as the growth goes. And then I repotted it, and it took off. So it has these two bloom spikes right here, and then on this side there's a couple of at least two new pseudobulbs. Yeah, just two new pseudobulbs coming out of this, but it's already bloomed from these. The nice thing about this thing, as you can tell, is the flaring. So this is a really contrast color in flaring. So it has this red flaring that is in a yellow flower, and this is really striking, and this is what I really like about the flaring on this. There's a lot of this has, I think this might have had, I don't remember, this might have had 4 flowers on it. This one right now has 4 flowers on it. The thing about this is I'm not sure if this is peak bloom or a little beyond that, but the fragrance is just incredible. This is roses. This smells like roses, and that's the incredible thing that I like about many of the orchids that I'm growing. But this one, it's a rose fragrance, and it's just wonderful. Good blooms, nice contrasty. Again, I've used this a lot in my crosses, and I'm really happy with this plant growing pretty vigorously. Okay, so let me put that back, and then we'll move on to, I think I gotta be careful not to knock off the capsule or damage any of the other plants as I put this one back. And I've got 2 more that I want to share with you. And this one right here is not a very impressive bloom. It just opened today, and this is first bloom on a progeny plant that I made of Llory Anne Paradise. So it's Llory Anne. Paradise is the name of the parent plant, the cultivar of the parent plant, and this is a progeny plant, so it's also called Llory Anne, but it doesn't carry the same cultivar name that's associated with this. This is a really tiny flower. It hasn't opened fully yet. You have flaring, and I'll put a video of this close up because I don't know if we'll be able to see this. The thing that I like about this flower, again, it's not fully open, so the petals aren't all the way back. The sepals look like they might be far enough back, but the petals haven't opened all the way because, like I said, it just opened today. But this plant, what I like about this, a few things I like about it. So the flaring is nice. You have the contrasting, the yellow, the flare on this one, as opposed to what we saw previously. The flare is yellow, and then the petals themselves are this purple color. It's frilly, it's a small flower, and for that reason, it bloomed a little early. So I think this, you know, again, this is from a self that I made, but I think this was deflasked maybe 3.5 years ago. I'll check. I don't know if it's 3.5, 4 years ago. But I have notes and I have details on this. What is also really remarkable about this flower, this is the first flower I've had. So the parent of this was fragrant, and it was a classical Cattleya. Ooh, I got to put this in a new hanger. The hanger, the bottom is about to fall off on this. But one of the striking things about this is the first Cattleya flower that I've ever had that smells like honey. This is without doubt. I'm smelling it. I'm taking, and it only opened yesterday, so it's going to get more fragrant over time. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. But today I just smelled it again. Right now. It's honey. There's no question. There's no doubt. That's what this thing smells like. All right. The other thing that I want to show to you and point out to you is the spotting in the sepals. So this has, not only does it have the flaring in the petals, there's a lot of really nice spots in the sepals. So those are the 3 leaves that surround the flower. And I really like spotting. You get this in Cattleyas, you get a lot of it, but I like a combination of flaring and spots in this flower. So hopefully the flower will open up and it'll fold back and look flat and look nice. And if that's the case, I think I'm probably just going to use it in a cross anyway. At least collect the pollinia, maybe go on to this. You don't want to, it's not a small plant. It looks like a pretty, you know, it's a pretty nice sized plant. The Cattleya itself is pretty small, so this is not going to be a big plant. What happens with these smaller cats is they do tend to flower early from seed. And that's definitely what happened with this one. So, man, that's just, I mean, I'm just amazed that there's that much variety in fragrance that comes from these things. So, anyway, this I think is going to be a real nice flower. Once I get this plant a little bigger and it's vigorous, it's growing a lot more. Pseudobulbs are growing out of it. The interesting thing with Llory Anne, the plant that this came from, the parent plant, I don't have it in my collection anymore. Llory Anne Paradise, she's long gone. And I'm not sure what happened to it. She died, but I don't know if it was a pathogen or what it was. But this is just a nice, really vigorous plant. So it's got a lot of good characteristics from the parent. It's just, like I said, a really nice, vigorous plant. All right, I got one more. Let me put this back. Oh, I do have, while I got you over here, and so this is Wu Lang. Again, I've shared this with you many times, and I'm going to show you right here. I think you can see this, but there's a spontaneous seed capsule that's forming on this plant. I didn't do anything to it. I can't tell if it was pollinated, but this plant tends to do that. And there's Wu Lang flowers. I mean, there's another big one up here. Ooh, it's stuck up in my bougainvillea. I'll pull it down a little so you can see it. But just loaded, and more flowers that way too. All right, I'm sorry, getting sidetracked. I got to be careful. I tend to get sidetracked a little bit. All right, so this one is, this is my last flared cattleya that I want to share with you. And this is the first bloom that I've had on this plant. This is RTH Siam Fancy. The cultivar is Wings of Fire. And this is from RF Orchids. And again, this is a plant that I got probably, I'm thinking 5-6 months ago, something like that. So this is, and again, it's from RF Orchids. I think this was one that I picked up when I got a gift card, a retirement gift card. And this plant is just going gangbusters. Only one bloom, but it's the first bloom on this plant. And what you may or may not, this is just, it's growing like crazy. There's 1, 2, 3, I guess that's it, just 3 new pseudobulbs behind this one here. And this is another striking flower that has yellow with some, I guess it's kind of like a lavender flaring on it. And this again just opened yesterday. This has just a classical orchid fragrance. This is just a floral, classical cattleya orchid fragrance associated with it. But again, it's one of those things that this just opened yesterday or today. Well, yesterday it was partly open, but today I think it is fully open. And it has some really nice color associated with it. I like the flower. But the other thing is that usually it takes cattleyas a few days to develop the full fragrance, but this is going to be great. So this is again a really this is going to be really fragrant over time. I hope the flower lasts longer, and I hope I get some blooms out of these other pseudobulbs that are coming out of this. So that's the last orchid. That's the last flared orchid that I wanted to share with you. The flared orchids. I'm so happy because I really like these. I want to like all orchids. I want to like other orchids, but I'm really drawn to the, I mean, yeah, it's small. I do have large flared orchids, but I'm really drawn to the flaring and the striking contrast of colors that you see in the petals and sometimes the sepals, not the sepals in this one. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video of some of the flared orchids that I have in my collection that for some reason seem to be blooming right now. First bloom on a few of these plants that I'm really excited about. I have some other plants that haven't bloomed, and I'll share those with you as we move forward. The other thing is that I'm back in town now. I haven't been to the lab in a long time, so I'm a little nervous about all the work I'm going to have to do. But I'm also pretty excited about some of the things that are going on in the laboratory, some of the hybrids that I've made, and how those seedlings are moving forward. So I've got a lot more stuff I want to share with you over the next few weeks as I get caught up in the ton of work that I have to do, both in my garden here and in the laboratory. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing my videos, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, man, it is a nice day. I hope this continues. I think it will. That's the weather pattern. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video, and happy propagating.